The Sergeant-at-Arms will please secure the chamber doors. Members, please take your seats. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. President,
All right, Senators, we are very pleased to have Deacon John Winslow, seminarian at Mount St. Mary's Seminary in Emmitsburg, which is in Hollywood, Maryland, guest of the distinguished senator from the 29th District, even though Emmitsburg is in the 2nd District. So we have a joint appointment today. Please rise for the invocation.
Good morning. I'd like to thank Mr. President and Senator Bailey for inviting me here. The prayer I'll be offering today was originally written by Archbishop Carroll, the first Archbishop of Baltimore, in honor of the inauguration of our first president, George Washington. Almighty and eternal God, you've revealed your glory to all nations. God of power and might, wisdom and justice, through you, authority is rightly administered, laws are enacted, and judgment is decreed. Assist with your spirit of counsel and fortitude the President of these United States, that his administration may be conducted in righteousness and be eminently useful to your people over whom he presides. May he encourage due respect for virtue and religion. May he execute the laws with justice and mercy, and may he seek to restrain crime, vice, and immorality. Let the light of your divine wisdom direct the deliberations of Congress and shine forth in all the proceedings and laws framed for our rule and government. May they seek to preserve peace, promote national happiness, and continue to bring us the blessings of liberty and equality. We pray for Wes Moore, the governor of the state of Maryland, for all members of the state legislature, for judges, elected civil officials, and all others who are entrusted to guard our political welfare. May they be enabled by your powerful protection to discharge their duties with honesty and ability. We likewise commend your unbounded mercy, all citizens of the United States and the state of Maryland, that we may be blessed in the knowledge and sanctified in the observance of your holy law. May we be preserved in union in that peace which the world cannot give, and after enjoying the blessings of this life, be admitted to those which are eternal. We pray to you, who are Lord and God, forever and ever. Amen.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Chair recognizes the senator from the 29th District.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Colleagues, I just wanted to recognize Deacon Winslow and just let you know that the history of his family and mine started years and years ago as his dad Curtis and his mom Kelly are in the gallery up above. We graduated from high school together 40 years ago. And so we're happy to have them. We are happy very much, Deacon, that you came, and we appreciate it, and I'd ask that your remarks be journalized.
Oh, thank you, Senator, and without objection, we will certainly journalize the invocation this morning. Thank you very much for that, and thank you for your work. Wish you best as you move forward this year. All right, let's see. Has everyone recorded their presence? It appears so. The clerk will take the call. With 45 members in the chamber and a quorum being present, the Senate of Maryland is now in session. Doesn't look like we have any resolutions today, but introductions. Any introductions this morning? Yes, Chair recognizes the senator from the 10th District.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to acknowledge the doctor of the day. Yeah, and Dr. Benita C. Taylor is a family practice specialist in Catonsville portion of District 10. Yeah, she graduated with honors from Howard University College of Medicine in 1984, having more than 40 years of diverse experience, especially in family practice. Dr. Benita C. Taylor is affiliated with the Ascension St. Agnes Hospital and corporates, with many doctors and specialists in the medical group of Seton Medical Group Incorporated. Let's give her a warm welcome.
Welcome, welcome. Thank you to our Doctor of the Day today. Thank you for your service. Additional introductions? Any additional introductions? It appears not. Slow Friday today. Big committee work happening. If there's no further business before we jump in, so we consider the reading of the journal from the prior legislative day. We have our first House bills of the year. House bill calendar number 1. I know, it's worthy of clapping. Clerk will read the bills.
House Bill 23, Chair, Health and Government Operations Committee, Maryland Health Benefit Exchange, Qualified Health Plans, Dental Coverage, Finance.
Majority
House Bill
Leader
30
moves so we consider the reading of the bills. They will be referred to their appropriate standing committees. We still have some bond initiatives coming through. This is calendar number 24. Clerk will read the bond initiatives.
Number 1, Senator Lewis Young, Hartley House Community Resource Center, Budget and Taxation.
Majority Leader moves so we consider the reading of the bond initiatives. They will be referred to the Capital Budget Subcommittee. On to LBI number 25. Clerk will read the bond initiatives.
Number 1, Senator Lamb, Cedar and Morris Hill Community Center, Budget and Taxation. Number 2, Howard
Majority Leader
County.
moves so be considered the reading of the bond initiatives. They will be referred to the Capital Budget Subcommittee. We have a message from the mayor. The clerk will read the message.
Dear President Ferguson, pursuant to Article 6, Section 7 of the Constitution of Maryland, the Mayor and City Council of Baltimore is proposing the creation of debt or extension of credit in the form of 4 resolutions authorizing the following loans. A, affordable housing, B, schools, C, community and economic development, and D, public infrastructure. The resolutions have been presented and approved by members of the Baltimore City Senate delegation. Having complied with requirements of Article 6, Section 7 of the Constitution, the Mayor and City Council in Baltimore respectfully request that the resolutions be journalized on or before February 8th, the 30th day of session. Sincerely, Nina Thelmus, Director, Mayor's Office of Government Relations, City of Baltimore.
All right. Message having been read is ordered journalized. One of these quirks of the state government with the loan authorization has to be a resolution journalized by the Senate. Fascinating little tidbit of history there. All right, we now have a message from the Prince George's County government. From the Office of the County Executive, clerk will read the message.
Dear President Ferguson, I am pleased to appoint Mrs. Artis G. Hampshire Cowan, Esquire, to Maryland Stadium Authority Board to serve on a 4-year term. On a term 4 years from November 14th, 2023. Ms. Hampshire Cowan is founder and principal of Leveraged Leadership Group and a senior fellow of the Association of Governing Boards, Universities, and Colleges. During her 25-year tenure at Howard University, she served as senior vice president and corporate secretary, chief operating officer, and acting president. Prior to being promoted to senior vice president, Artis served as a corporate secretary and vice president for human resource management, with executive oversight for a workforce of more than 6,000. Before joining Howard, she spent 12 years in the government of the District of Columbia as a congressional lobbyist.
The majority leader can waive the reading of the message. This is an appointment to the Stadium Authority, I believe. So we'll refer the nomination to the Executive Nominations Committee for consideration. We have a second reading calendar out of Budget and Tax. This is calendar report number 2. Clerk will read the first bill.
Senate Bill 169, Senator Kagan, Green and Renewable Energy for Nonprofit Organizations Loan Program and Fund, favorable with one amendment.
Chair recognizes the senator from the 30th District as the floor leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Colleagues, Senate Bill 169 is a bill we've heard a few times on the floor so far. It establishes the Green and Renewable Energy for Nonprofit Organizations Loan Program through the Maryland Energy Administration. It provides no interest loans to nonprofit organizations to plan, purchase, and install green energy systems and get off the grid. The organizations are required to contribute 10% of the cost, and the program would take effect in July 1st, 2025. MEA must first establish an application process and guidelines, et cetera. There is one committee amendment to add sponsors, Mr. President. With that, I move the one committee amendment in the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the one committee amendment in the favorable committee report. On the amendment, chair recognizes the minority leader. On the amendment, any discussion on the amendment? Any objections to the amendment? Without objection, the amendment is adopted. Question now is on the amended report. Chair recognizes the minority leader on the report.
Thank you, Mr. President. The floor leader would yield for a question.
Yes.
Please.
Senator may proceed.
Thank you very much. I didn't know if I heard clearly. Are these no interest loans or low interest loans?
They are no interest loans.
No interest loans. Okay. The fiscal note talks about the revenue that goes back into the fund, and it does mention interest income received. So is that then not accurate?
I can't speak to that, Senator. I didn't catch that myself.
Okay. Okay, but you're saying it's no interest. And then this requires an appropriation of $5 million a year to fund the fund?
It establishes the fund, but it is a may.
May. So, not being on the B&T committee, what does that actually mean? That this would all be in place, the governor would present his budget each year and can decide to put it there?
It's a strong recommendation from this body to the governor.
Okay.
But he does not have to take it.
So then it would come from general fund, right?
It could come from the general fund, but MEA has a number of special funds, federal funds, ACP funds, as you know.
Right.
So there's a couple options here to fund the program.
Okay, so that was my next question. Thank you. Why aren't we just funding this from the SEIF, the Strategic Energy Investment Fund? They've got more money than they could know what. Well, I have some people in here have some ideas what to do with that money, but they have an awful lot of money. Why aren't we just funding it through that?
To my knowledge, Mr. Chair, the SEIF fund has some strings attached. According to, it can only be used to fund, I believe, low income or moderate income projects that go to low or moderate income individuals, and this doesn't quite fit in the way that it's written. But again, it kind of gives the discretion to the governor and to MEA as to how to fund the program, since it is a may, not a shall.
Okay, so it doesn't have to be funded by the general fund, but through the new budget process, the General Assembly could make that decision to fund it, right?
It would be within our power.
Even though it doesn't come from the governor. Okay, and then that would be $5 million a year with the
Up
hope
to.
that the payments then come back to the fund and it could be rolled over
Yes.
again and again. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you,
President.
Senator.
Thank you, Senator. All right. Question remains on the amended report. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 169 is hereby ordered printed for third reading. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 321, Senator Jackson, property tax credit for hotel or residential development projects, favorable.
Chair recognizes the bill sponsor as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, Senate Bill 321 authorizes local governments to grant a property tax credit for real property that's used for hotel or residential development projects. The projects must be new construction or substantial rehabilitation, substantially increase the value, the property value. Additionally, if the development includes more than 20 residential units, then at least 15% of those units must be affordable housing units. The bill also repeals certain provisions relating to a similar property tax credit authorized for development projects in Wycomico County under Chapter 715, 16, and 2021. However, the bill does not affect the hotel or residential development projects in Wycomico County that began on or after July 1, 21, but before June 1st, 2024. There were no committee amendments passed unanimously. Move adoption for a favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. On the report, chair recognizes the minority whip.
Mr. President, I wonder if I could ask the floor leader if he
Will the
yield for
floor
a
leader
question.
yield for a question?
Yes.
Senator may proceed.
Thank you. Just looking to the bill here. Why was Wacomico County taken out?
Because current law has allowed Wycomico County, they are already engaged in this. Salisbury has a very robust program, and they are where we got this idea from.
Great. Okay. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
All right. Any further discussion on the report? If not, all in favor of the report say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 321 is hereby ordered printed for third reading. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 342, Senator McCray, tax credits, homeowners and renters income calculation, favorable with one amendment.
Recognizing chair of the committee is the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Can I special order this at the appropriate time on Monday?
Any objections to the senator's motion to special order? Without objection, the bill will be special ordered to the appropriate time on Monday. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 414, Senator Zucker, Education Maryland Council on Economic Education Funding, favorable with two amendments.
Chair recognizes the bill sponsor is the floor leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Senate Bill 414 is regarding the Maryland Council on Economic Education. This is actually a 70-year program that's been providing financial literacy assistance to school systems throughout the state of Maryland. Last year, the Budget and Taxation Committee put money in to help provide further resources, and it was very successful. In calendar year 2023, more than 2,100 educators received resources, and more than 200,000 school-age children received financial literacy assistance. So what this bill does is just keeps them level funded for the next few years. There are two committee amendments. The first committee amendment adds the entire Budget and Taxation Committee as co-sponsors. The second amendment just specifies that it's both for public and non-public special ed schools. I would move the committee amendments and the adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves to the adoption of the two committee amendments and the favorable committee report. On the amendments, any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the two committee amendments are adopted. Question now is on the favorable report as amended. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 414 is hereby ordered printed for third reading. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 430, Senator M. Washington, Community Health and Safety Works Grants Program and Fund Establishment, favorable with two amendments.
Recognizing Chair of the Committee.
Thank you, Mr. President. Can I special order this to the appropriate time on Monday?
All right. Any objections to the special order? Without objection, the bill will be special ordered to the appropriate time on Monday. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 437, Carroll County Senators, Carroll County Contracts and Purchasing, favorable with two amendments.
Chair recognizes the senator from Southern Maryland as floor leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Senate Bill 437 as amended is a local bill. It raises the contract value threshold from $25,000 to $50,000, above which the county commissioners of Carroll County need to give advance public notice and use competitive bidding to purchase supplies and equipment or contracts for a public work or improvement. There were two amendments. Amendment 1 made technical changes. Amendment 2 makes another technical change, substituting procurement officer for chief of Bureau of Purchasing. I move the adoption of the favorable committee report and the amendments.
All right, floor leader moves to the adoption of the two committee amendments and the favorable committee report. On the amendments, any discussion? Any objections? Without objections, the two committee amendments are adopted. Question now is on the amended report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the amended report is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 437 is hereby ordered printed for third reading. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 530, Cecil County Senators, Cecil County Annual Financial Report, filing date favorable.
Recognizing the senator from Southern Maryland as floor leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Senate Bill 530 alters the filing date by which Cecil County must submit its annual financial reports to the Department of Legislative Services and its annual audit to the State Legislative Auditor from October 31st to December 31st. There were no committee amendments. I move for the adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves to the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 530 is hereby ordered printed for third reading. We've got special order calendar number 11. Clerk will read the bill.
Senate Bill 159, Courts, Military Records, Recordation, Inspection. Question is on the adoption of the one committee amendment and the favorable report.
All right, question is on the one committee amendment. Believe that we may have a subsequent amendment. Before we do that, let's adopt the report if it's drawn up correctly to the amendment. Okay. So the question is on the amendment. Any discussion or objections to the committee amendment? Without objection, the one committee amendment is adopted. Question now is on the amended report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the favorable committee report as amended is adopted. The senator from the 28th district has an amendment.
Yes, Mr. President.
All right, pages will distribute the senator's amendment. Give us just a moment, Senator, to get these out. I think this is the first one for this this crew. They'll have more the next time they are back. All right. Senator may explain the amendment.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, this amendment will take out armed forces and substitute uniform services. So as a background, the armed forces are what we traditionally think of: the Army, Air Force, Space Force, Navy, Marines, Coast Guard. There are two other uniform services that provide essential services to the nation, and they're considered uniform services. They have an officer corps, and for educational purpose, if I may, Mr. President, I might explain the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration have an Office of Marine and Aviation Operations, and they make up the Corps uniform officers. I believe there are 330 officers in the NOAA Corps, and they operate ships, they fly airplanes, they do a lot of research in our oceans, and so that's the NOAA, National Oceanic and Administration Corps. There's also a commissioned corps in the U.S. Public Health Service, and that is made up of over, 6,000 officers. They serve 11 professional categories and 800 locations throughout the U.S. and around the world. And they provide essential health services, sometimes where regular civilian doctors cannot go. So these are essential agencies, and these officers receive the same benefits as the uniformed armed forces. Veterans benefits, when they are discharged, they get a DD, what's that DD number? 214, thank you, little blank. And so this amendment would include those additional two services in this bill.
Excellent. Senator moves the amendment.
Yes, so I move the amendment, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator. All right, the senators move the amendment. Let's hear from the committee. Chair recognizes the floor leader on the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. President. We thank the senator for his thoughtful amendment. The committee considers it a friendly amendment.
Friendly amendment. Excellent. Good catch. All right. Any further discussion on the floor amendment? Any yes, Chair recognizes the senator from District 7 on the floor
one clarifying question to the amendment sponsor.
Will the amendment sponsor yield to a question? Appears so. Senator may proceed.
Just listening, did you say that the uniformed also get a DD 214?
Yes, they do.
Okay, I didn't know that.
In both the Public Health Service and the NOAA, National Oceanic Administration.
Okay, I thought DD 214s were only under the Pentagon. I have no problem with the bill or the amendment. I just was clarifying if they actually got a DD 214.
Oh yeah, I mean, and that's in the rule, and I have personal experience with that. My brother is a retired officer in the U.S. Public Health Service, and he gets the same benefits that I do, so, yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Sure.
All right, excellent. Any further discussion on the amendment? Further discussion on the amendment? Any objections to the amendment? Without objection, the amendment is adopted. Any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 159 is hereby ordered printed for third reading. All right, we've got a special order calendar number 12. Clerk will read the report.
Executive nominations report number 2. Question is, will the Senate advise and consent to the nominations of the executive?
All right, question before the body is, will the Senate advise and consent to the nominations on report number 2? Let's hear from the chair of the committee.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, keep in mind this is from this past Monday, the agenda, so all of the nominations that appear are from this past Monday, so please look over and see if you have any that we want to separate before we move it.
All right, any that we would like to separate? Chair recognizes the senator from District 30.
Thank you, Mr. President. Can I move to separate nomination number 2, please?
Number 2 will be removed. Any further nominations for separation? Chair recognizes the chair of the committee.
Thank you, Mr. President. So I recommend that we accept the committee report, except nomination number 2.
All right, on the question before the body is the report number 2, but for nominee number 2, which we will take up immediately following. Any discussion on the report before we vote? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 46 votes in the affirmative, the Senate unanimously advises and consents affirmatively to the nominations of the executive. Clerk will read the next order of business. Give us just a moment. All right. Madam Clerk?
All right. The question is, will the Senate advise and consent to the nomination of executive of nominee number 2?
All right, question is on nominee number 2. Chair recognizes the chair of the committee.
Thank you, Mr. President. I recommend we move favorable on executive appointment number 2, nominee number 2.
All right, on nominee number 2, any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 45 votes in the affirmative, nominee number 2 is approved. All right. Nope, we still have another one. Special order calendar number 13. Clerk will read the bill. Oh, this is third reading. Let's do a quorum call before these, if we can, Madam Clerk.
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their presence? If so, the clerk will take the call. With 46 members in the chamber and a quorum being present, the Senate of Maryland remains in session. Onto special order calendar number 13, the clerk will read the bill.
Senate Bill 274, Chair, Education, Energy, and the Environment Committee, Charter Counties Comprehensive Plans, affirmatively furthering fair housing. Bill is on third reading for final passage.
Senate Bill 274 is on third reading for final passage. Chair recognizes the minority whip.
Thank you, Mr. President. I held this bill up yesterday because I wanted to take a closer look at it, and I think that the issue, and I don't think I need to ask any further questions. I thought about just trying to clarify, but I think the issue here is that we talk a lot about the need for more housing access and availability, and I think we all agree in some ways that that needs to happen. We sometimes differ on maybe how to get there, but this really isn't about that. This is a federal government push to talk about how we affirmatively further fair housing and put in our law, and my concern is that those terms can be defined a lot of different ways. The Fair Housing Act of 1968, which was landmark and very important legislation to outlaw discrimination in housing, is a great law, and we want to obviously not do anything to go against that. But this is kind of going beyond that to really try to get into what different counties are doing as far as how they're doing their affordable and fair and housing and how they're enforcing the Fair Housing Act. And to me, it just seems like an overreach, and so I'm going to be voting no. I will make a quick note and I know Governor Moore talked a lot about the need for making Maryland more affordable, more competitive, and he talked about housing in his State of the State speech. I thought he made a lot of really good points. One of the things we could do is roll back some of the outdated policies of many years ago that do not allow rural counties and suburban counties to do much of any growth on septic systems. So I just wanted to make that point on this issue of housing in general. So I'm going to be voting red on this bill, Mr. President, and I recognize some of this stuff is sort of administrative gobbledygook, but to me I think it sends the wrong message, so I'm going to be voting no. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Any further discussion? Yes, Chair recognizes the Vice Chair of the committee on the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Appreciate that the good senator looked into it further. I just want to make sure that other colleagues are aware. He got it mostly right, but there are federal guidelines that require local jurisdictions to take action to combat discrimination and have fair housing laws. It already covers code counties, it already covers commission counties, and all this says is that charter counties ought to be included. And I'm just going to read one quick thing. What does affirmatively furthering fair housing mean? It means to take meaningful actions in addition to actions aimed at combating discrimination to overcome patterns of segregation and foster inclusive communities free from barriers that restrict access to housing and opportunity based on protective communities. I think protected characteristics. It's pretty innocuous, it's important, and it's making sure that all 24 jurisdictions are covered by this. So I urge my colleagues to vote for this modest but important bill. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator. All right, on the bill, any further discussion? Any further discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Would anyone like to change their vote? Explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 38 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 274, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. One more. We've got a third reading. Oh, no, excuse me. One more calendar. A couple more bills. This is third reading calendar number 10. Clerk will read the first bill.
Senate Bill 23, Senator West, Orphans Court Judges Elections.
All right, Senate Bill 23 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 43 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 23, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 303, Chair, Education, Energy, and the Environment Committee, Aquaculture Definition of Shellfish Alteration.
Senate Bill 303 is on third reading, final passage. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 46 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 303, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. All right, that does it for the week. The desk is entirely clear. Productive week overall. Let's see, we've got some work happening in some of the committees. Let's see, Chair Finance, all right, Triple E, Budget and Tax.
So all three subcommittees will meet at noon today. And then on Monday, Education and Health will meet at 1.
All right. Chair recognizes the Chair of Judicial Proceedings.
Thank you, Mr. President. We'll meet today, the Judicial Proceedings Committee will meet today at 12:30 for bill hearings. We were initially scheduled to have a voting session, but we're going to move that to Monday just in light of the workload.
Got it. Okay, excellent. All right, so bill hearings 12:30 in Judicial Proceedings, Monday voting. All right. Let's see. Other standing committee, Chair of Executive Nominations.
Executive noms will meet Monday at 5 o'clock.
All right. And any additional standing committees, select committees, caucuses, joint committees? Yes, Chair of the Baltimore County Delegation.
Thank you very much. Baltimore County Delegation will be meeting at 3:30 on Monday in the Vernon Welcome Room for some bill hearings.
Excellent. That was 3:30, 3:30?
3:30.
All right. Any other announcements? Any other orders of business before the weekend's Usher concert? There's nothing else happening? Yes. All right. It's co-chair of the Protocol Committee.
Thank you, Mr. President. And now the week has come to a conclusion, and this is when we thank our pages for their time and service. So I'm going to introduce the pages and thank them. Everybody could join me with a big round of applause. Yeah, wait, we'll call out the names. Hold on, I did that backwards. So, okay, the first page is Kendall Giteau from Cecil County, Elkton High School. Thank you, Kendall. Our next page is Madison Messick from Kent County High School. Thank you, Madison. Next page is Leslie Monter Casio from Caroline County, North Carolina High School. Thank you. Our next page is from Washington County, Boonesboro High School. That's William Moore. Thank you, William. Our next page is from Frederick County, Middleton High School. Michael Olson. Thank you, Michael. The next page is from Charles County, Westlake High School. Kayla Pratt. Thank you, Kayla. Our next page is from Howard County. That's River Hill High School. Shruti Vadlakonda. Thank you, Shruti. And our last page is from Baltimore City, Carver Vocational Technical High School, Adane Vidal. Thank you, Adane. Thank you for all the pages and permission. We have got a special announcement for tomorrow.
Senator may proceed.
Yeah, tomorrow is the birthday for Senator Gallion. So if we could all join together and wish him a happy birthday. It's a Super Bowl weekend, Super Bowl birthday.
So. Yes, he's going to be very sad he won't be with us on his actual birthday day, but in spirit we'll be there. Yes, Chair recognizes the Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a quick Friday fun fact. There are 6 high schools in District 36. So half of them are represented by pages here today. So once again, thank you to
Wow.
District 36 pages.
Wow.
Thanks.
That is impressive. Look at that. Somebody's got some pull with the page office, I tell you. All right, and before we do a quorum call, just, out of the fun, it's Friday, we're 30 days in. We're going to do an informal vote. A green vote is the 49ers. A red vote is the Chiefs. A green vote is the 49ers. Is this who you think will win? What's the Senate line is the question. So green vote is the 49ers. Red vote is the Chiefs. Hopefully, the presiding officer has helped indicated the direction that this should. No, just kidding. All right, 49ers are green, red are the Chiefs. Here we go. The clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President?
Has everyone...
Mr. President, I'd like to explain my vote.
Sir, may I explain his vote?
I'd like to stay married. I'm choosing the Chiefs.
Well, good call. Very good. Very good. Good decision. Good decision. All right. Is everyone recorded? If so, the clerk will take the call. Ooh. This is interesting. All right. There it is. That's the line. 17 49ers, 21 Chiefs, 7 excused. All right. 7 are just going for the concert. Yeah. All right. Any further business before we... Oh, yes. Chair recognizes the Senator from Montgomery County.
Yeah, well, I was actually just looking before we entered the chamber, and in fact, the pot odds in Las Vegas are that the Chiefs win 21-17. They're 4-point favorites, and so there's something weird going on here in the chamber.
That's some Taylor Swift math happening right there. That's okay. Excellent. All right. The odds makers are watching, apparently. Yes. All right. Anything else? If not, let's do a quorum call before we adjourn.
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their presence? If so, the clerk will take the call. With 46 members in the chamber, a quorum being present, the Senate of Maryland remains in session. Chair recognizes the majority leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate of Maryland stand adjourned until Monday, February 12th at 8 p.m.
8 p.m. Monday. Everyone have a wonderful, wonderful, safe weekend.